Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Dangerous Misinformation, the daily bite-sized podcast to inspire topics for you to ruin family dinners and social gatherings. Join us today as we get completely carried away about the Hunter Biden of the Roman times. And that's pretty much all we talk about this episode. So thank you for tuning in. Please like the video, share, subscribe, do all the good things, and I'll see you on the podcast. Yes, greetings. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Dangerous Misinformation, the number one source for uncomfortable truths and LOLs. Appreciate you being here. My name is Rodney Smith. I will be your humble narrator throughout this experience. You can follow me on all social medias at Lord Petty in some form of underscores. You can send me an email at lordpettypodcast@gmail.com if you have any sort of opinions, feedback, things you want to contribute. I would like to do a part of the show at this point going forward where we have a user submitted section where I go over a topic that somebody else sends me every day. Because I think it'd be fun, because there's definitely going to be things that I wouldn't think about addressing that would get a funny perspective on, and then we can talk about them. So yeah, do that. Please leave a rating, subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on audio, there will be a link in the description that I'll have a direct link to my YouTube channel, so you can also watch this on video. If you want to see my pasty face, if not, I get it. I usually listen to podcasts when I'm cleaning the kitchen or doing something like that, you know? I'm either listening to the hardest ghetto trash trap shit ever, somebody talking about slanging bricks and having bitches while I'm just scrubbing a pan, or I'm listening to a podcast about how God speaks with us through our subconsciousness and how molecules work and shit like that. You know, all the type of stuff that's way over my head that I like to listen to remind myself that I don't know everything and that I'm a fucking dumbass. And speaking of not knowing everything and user submissions, okay? My good pal, we're going to start it off with this. My good pal, Jake Maurer, he sent me, let's see, wrong profile. Whoops, no. He sent me something today. I was at the gym trying to put some weight back on, which is very hard for me. As much as I make fun of the shamus, you can make fun of me for being a straw man because I just feel disgustingly skinny. And so he sent me this. You're going to get a peep into my DMs here. So first he sends this, okay, which is the brothers who directed The Matrix are now sisters. So then he says, you know, the Matrix is out to get me. People swinging at the air right now. That's really funny. People talk about The Matrix, and then if the people that actually wrote The Matrix are both trans women now, that's hilarious. But here's where it gets funnier. So then museum reclassifies a Roman emperor as a trans woman instead of a man. So this is going to get interesting, and I haven't looked at these because I just saw these notifications when I was at the gym. And I don't like to be laughing at the gym, obviously, because next thing you know, I'll be dropping the 130s on my face after I take them for a ride on the incline. So let's look at the thing here. Elagabalus, okay? It's also wild about the Roman emperor. This motherfucker was so flamboyant and controversial, the members of his own royal guard killed him and his mother, cut off his head, and then threw his body in the Tiber River. They don't make him like that anymore, dude. Politics ain't this juicy no-mo. They should be. This would be Hunter Biden's ass. Think about it. 1,000 years from now, if the United States is still standing, which I highly doubt it will be, at this point we're going to be in 1,000 years, Islam will have conquered the whole entire world, and the United States will not be a thing. God, this guy was 14. Look at him, dude. You know this guy was just a piece of shit. Let's keep going. I want to hear about his sex scandals. Latest historians suggest Elagabalus showed a disregard for Roman religious traditions and sexual taboos. He replaced the dude. People were fucked up back then. There's all sorts of weird incest and all this weird crap going on. He replaced the traditional head of the Roman pantheon, Jupiter, with the deity. Okay, this is way over my head. Where's the sex scandals? Also, he was 14 to 18 when he resigned, meaning a child, just like many confused kids these days, cutting off their dicks and tits. Shocking that nearly 2,000 years later, children are still having weird ass thoughts like this. Yeah, you got a point. You got a point, Jake. Um, Funny thing about Jake, this must have been at least 15 years ago or something. Longer than that. I mean, I was probably like 16 or 17. And we were at a party at our friend's, the Gedney's house, which we called the Fizz Shack because it was just a compound for us degenerates to go and experiment with hallucinogens in the woods. And so one time the Gedneys were having a party and I met Jake's girlfriend. Like Jake and his girlfriend showed up earlier in the night and then we were all hanging out. And then throughout the night, like I got so hammered. And then later on in the night, I forgot like who his girlfriend was and that was Jake's girlfriend. And I just like walk up to her and it's like, hey, how's it going? And she's being super, super, super cool. And then so I'm like hitting on her, right? And then Jake is like, Rodney, you know that's my girlfriend, right? And I was like, no. Because I was so hammered. Yeah. I usually don't get fucked up like that. But I mean, also I was fucking 16 and had been puking in dog bowls and stuff like that around that time as well. So there's that. Sorry, Jake. You're a real one for that. I want to know a little bit more about this guy. Okay. Let's do a little dive real quick. What's this motherfucker's name? Elagabalus. Sex scandal. The most unrepentantly naughty things. Roman Emperor Elagabalus was a capricious. What's up with all these big words, dude? Am I this dumb? Go away, Carnival. Yes, I want to go on another cruise. Emperor blah 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 was a blah 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 from 218. He only had 4 years. He only had the Trump stint. Packed a lot of scandal into those years. I like him even more. When it comes to the weirdest royals throughout history, Elagabalus might be the wildest of all. Oh, this is getting good. It's hard to separate the fact from the fiction. Let's not even think about this and these legends about him, but what the tales are eye-popping. Who would want to? Okay. Let's just dive into it. He had 5 wives and 1 husband. Elagabalus married 5 women while he was emperor. Historians only know the names of 3 of the women. They don't matter anyways, but perhaps the most famous was Aquila Severa. According to Historia Augusta, she was the Vestal Virgin. Don't find those anymore. Sworn to chastity and the worship of the goddess Vesta. That didn't deter Elagabalus. He violated her vows and married her, declaring that their union would produce, quote, godlike children. What a G. Rumor has it that Elagabalus also married a man. His identity has been disputed by scholars, but it was likely one of Elagabalus. I'm probably butchering his name, and somebody's going to be really pissed. Likely one of his favorites, either the athlete Zodicus or the chariot driver Hercules. Apparently, Elagabalus liked to get caught committing adultery by his husband. So he liked his husband. That was his kink for his husband to walk in on him just banging a chariot driver. Let's keep going. He opened the royal baths to attract well-endowed men. It would have been blasphemous for an emperor to bathe in public, let alone with the public. But Elagabalus didn't care. He opened the palace baths and baths of the Plotinus to the general populace, but he had an ulterior motive. By this means, he meant to get a supply of men with unusually large organs. That wasn't all he did. Elagabalus supposedly also took care to have the whole city and wharves search for audibly, as those were called who seemed particularly lusty. What is... The word is a rough combination of the Greek words for donkey and weapon, and you can fill in the blank. Wow. Imagine somebody referring to you as a fucking donkey weapon. Hell yeah. This episode is great. Thank you, Jake. He was rumored to sacrifice children to his god. That shouldn't be funny. And Elagabalus also, this guy's literally the Hunter Biden of back in the day. Elagabalus also sacrificed human victims, and for this purpose, he collected from the whole of Italy children of noble birth and beautiful appearance whose fathers and mothers were alive, intending, I suppose, that the sorrow it suffered by two parents would all be the greater. Yeah, what a sicko. Finally, he kept about him every kind of magician and had them perform daily sacrifices, himself urging them on and giving thanks to the gods because he found them to be well disposed of these men. And all while he would examine the children's vitals and physically harm the victims after the man. Damn, this went from being funny to this guy's a prick. He pranked people by societing animals on them. Elagabalus loved playing jokes on dinner party guests. During the dessert course, the emperor would let in lions and leopards. Imagine you get invited to a royal dinner and all of a sudden a frickin' lion comes running in, which had been rendered harmless and trained by tamers, causing an amusing panic, for no one knew the beasts were harmless. Yeah, that's quite the prank, guy. Once Elagabalus collected a ton of snakes and proceeded to let them loose in a crowd, when the populace usually assembled for more frequented games, causing people to be harmed by their fangs as well as in the general panic. Why did nobody just fucking stab this guy? Even the streets weren't safe. Elagabalus also had a habit of riding chariots driven by exotic animals like camels or elephants. This guy had a unique life. He enjoyed dressing as a woman. Of course he did. Look at him. Look at this piece of shit. Elagabalus reportedly often dressed as a woman. He clad himself as the goddess Venus, wearing a crown and makeup. He also bathed with women and removed his body and facial hair, just as they did. Weren't his parents ever like, hey, bro, you're going to be a fucking emperor? Stop butt fucking everything and attacking people with cheetahs? Perhaps some of Elagabalus would have been identified as transgender in modern times. Okay, okay. He tied guests to a water wheel. Like, why do people go along with this? I just don't understand power structures, I guess, you know? I don't understand how power structures work, but people just get away with this shit. Like, how don't the masses just go and stab this guy? Recorded one of Elagabalus' least charming supposed habits, physically harming his guests. I would stop going to these parties. There's no way I would show up. All right, what else? I want to hear more about. He smothered visitors with flowers. He loved nice smelling things according to blah, blah, blah. He used to strew roses and all manner of flowers, such as lilies, violets, blah, 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 over his banqueted rooms, his couches, and his blah, 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 and then stroll in about them. Sometimes that the love of flowers went a little too far. Reportedly, at one party, Elagabalus released tons of flowers from the ceiling of the room, covering his guests in blooms. Some of them expired when they could not crawl out to the surface, while the emperor looked in amusement. Damn, he suffocated people with flowers. He may have invented the whoopee cushion. I don't doubt that. I don't want to read about it, though. Oh my God, this ad is vicious. Get out of here, Best Buy. Fuck off. All right, that's it. We got a little carried away with the Roman Hunter Biden there, but that's all good. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Please leave a rating, tell somebody about the pod, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Deuces.